Oh, here you are, face to face in this trashy bar. Another glass and I am going places. Makes me laugh about the irony of everything. I like the way you're thinking. I don't really care about the music on the dance floor. I don't really mind all the smokers in the bathroom. I don't care at all, baby, you got my attention. So you were saying, oh no, I don't see the logic of things. It's quite a lonely world that we're living in. Oh baby, you are something special, I'm sure. Everything makes total sense when you're next to me. Times another drink and I'll go anywhere. The way you smell, like a flash in the universe. You are illuminating. I don't really care about the people in the bar line. I don't really mind all the who goes doing stage dives. I don't care at all, baby, you got my attention. So you were saying, I don't see the logic of things. It's quite a lonely world that we're living in. Oh baby, you are something special, I'm sure.
Good evening, friends. Welcome to another episode of Let's Connect show on KONNECTiN. Today, we're going to be looking at two important features of Blackmagic ATEM switches, which is they're called upstream key and downstream key and then we'll also see that how we can use those two features to create professional looking graphics and overlays. By the way, if you're new to this show, and a warm welcome to you, please drop in the comment box and let us know where you're from. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Vijay Bose. I am the host of this Let's Connect show on KONNECTiN. We do product/tech reviews. We also provide live streaming tips and strategies to help you create professional looking live content. By the way, before we get to the details of the show, and if you think that you're going to be getting resourceful information from this channel, please consider subscribing to our channel and click the notification icon so that you will not miss any single content that we create in the future. All right. Today, we're going to be looking at this unit called ATEM Mini Pro. I started live streaming about a month ago. And I started with a software-based live streaming because, I have a Mac-only environment. I don't use PC in my studio. So I started searching for what is the right software that can help me get started. Then I found Ecamm Live. It's a wonderful application that runs only on Mac environment. And it is very good in managing the scenes, and it unlocks a host of professional features as well. I have a pro version of Ecamm Live that I've been using until now. And then I found this device called ATEM Mini Pro, and I looked at ATEM Mini device, but I settled with ATEM Mini Pro. The reason is that this device is also a live streaming cum encoder. What that means is you can use this device alone to go live without a computer, without a beefy computer, because when you use software-based live streaming, what happens is you need a beefy computer. That means it's a CPU intensive operation when you actually do live productions, and and things can go haywire, and if you don't pay attention to what you do with your computer. And in my experience, 97 to 98% of the time, if there's a problem with your live production, and it is always going to be with your computer. So if you have an option to live stream using a hardware device like this, that will be my preferred choice. And what makes this device more powerful is the software that comes with it. It's called ATEM control software, and that is what we're going to be using today to look at the two important features, which is they are upstream key and downstream key. And one second. And what we're going to be doing today is, okay, now you see the border around my video source, right? The blue border. And now look at this demo scene that I created for today's demonstration purpose. Now this one does not have that blue border, and this is the test demo or demo scene that we're going to be using it to create an overlay using downstream key, and also use the same scene to actually test our animated overlays using upstream key. All right, and the only static overlays that is on the screen, they're already part of my show, and I don't want to mess with those ones. There are 4 of them are there, and let's leave those overlays as intact, and we'll create a new one. All right, and to do that, let me take you to my ATEM software control scene. All right, now you see here as the ATEM control software, and what we're going to be doing is actually we're going to look at this media pool. ATEM software control has got media pool, and I can stack up till 20 static images, which is very good. That means for any live productions, or if I'm doing a live production for others as well, the 20 is more than enough for me to actually play with. So this is what we're going to be using to create overlays, static overlays on top of a video source. And then we're going to look at the upstream key feature here. And this is what we're going to be using to create an animated overlay on top of a video source. All right, let's get started. And before I get to the overlay part, I want to show you real quick. If you go under this, you click on this gear icon, and that brings up the settings window. Under settings, there is an option called Hyperdeck. I'm using a device called Hyperdeck Studio Mini, and Hyperdeck Studio Mini is actually a playback recorder device. It also is also networked, and for this one. This unit is also, if you look at it, this has got 4 camera inputs, 1, 2, 3, and all of these inputs are actually used in my studio. And it also has got a USB out. This is what you can use it to, either to an external recorder, a USB drive, or SSD drive. And this HDMI out is actually, you can actually, if you really want multi-view, because one of the features of this Pro unit is actually you're able to see the multi-view. That means you can see the view from each of these camera sources in one big screen, and that is what this HDMI out is going to help you do that. And this is a network port here, and you can network this unit or device so that your ATEM software control can locate this device using IP address. Similarly, my Hyperdeck Studio Mini is also networked, and you can see that option here. This is already the IP address, and this is the input number camera 4. So that camera 4 input is actually my Hyperdeck Studio Mini. The animated overlay that I'm going to be demonstrating today is going to be played from that device, this HyperText Studio Mini. And when I say animated overlay, see, animated overlays has got transparency information baked in. So that transparency information is what we're going to be keyed in. So that'll be cut out, and you can just see that overlay being just played on top of your video source. All right. And all right, so let me close this window. All right, cancel that. Okay, today what I'm going to be doing is I just want to show you the file that I'm going to be playing today. We have it here. Go back to the folder here. Okay, this is it's an animated lower third, and I have this file. So let me play it here in QuickTime. And this is the file. Sorry, let me actually move this away. And that's an animated. Let me play it again 1 second. See, that's a animated lower third, and this lower third is what I'm going to be playing from HyperText Studio Mini and have it overlaid on top of the video source. Okay. All right. And in ATEM software control, if you go under media player, and that HyperText Studio Mini is already, it's already listed here, and I can connect as many. I think it supports up. I think it supports up till 4 of them. 4 HyperText. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. If I don't. Yeah. You can connect up till 4 HyperTexts with this one. But I'm only using 1 HyperText. And I have got a bunch of files here, a bunch of movie files here. And the one that I'm going to be using is this one, this lower third one. All right. And the first thing that we need to do is, if I'm using my main camera source, camera 1, so I have to use camera 1 as my fill source, and key source is going to be camera 4. Camera 4 is the HyperText Studio Mini. And then I got to make sure that my pre-multiplied key is unchecked. Okay, 27.8 is the desired configurable desired value for my clip. And I said the gain is to be 25 point. Maybe I'll just use 70%. Is fine for that. And make sure that the invert key is selected. Okay. And then my camera 1 is here. Make sure that and when you do upstream key, when do you actually use upstream key? So I didn't really explain that. Let me explain that. Upstream key is actually used to inject any dynamic behavior to your video source during a transition. That means when I transition from camera 1 to maybe camera 4, for example, I wanted to inject some dynamic behavior. So here my lower third is coming from camera 4. So when I switch from camera 1 to camera 4, I want that lower third to be played on top of my main camera footage, camera source from from camera 1. So that's our requirement. So I already set it up here. Make sure that my invert key is selected here. It's very important. So pre-multiplier key is unchecked. Configure the clip and the gain value here. Make sure that your key source and fill source is actually filled in or selected under upstream key. So we're going to be looking at the luma. Luma is actually it's based on the luminance level present in the video source is what we're going to be using to key in. Okay. There are options here called chroma key. So we are not using chroma key here for today, but we are using luma key under upstream key. Okay. So now the preview option is basically to set the camera source in line for the next transition. So I am going to be setting it to camera 4. That is what I want it to transition to. And I have to make sure that my camera 1 is in the program out. That is what you see. and then make sure is the key one is selected here, and then all I have to do is click on this auto button. That's it. After you make sure that all is selected here, make sure that your lower third file is selected here. That is the movie file that's going to be played. And then to demonstrate that, let's go back to this screen. And now I'm clicking that auto button. Let's see. Okay, now there is some problem here. We have to see what's the problem here. Check back here. I think did I do? Oh, I think I accidentally clicked the. Okay, I accidentally. See, the problem was. So now we go back to the ATEM software control. By mistake, I selected this flying key. I should not have done that. That's why my window got shrinked. So that was a mistake. So make sure that everything is tested before you actually use these options in the live productions. So let's do this one more time. So all this is all set up here, but do not select flying key. Uncheck that, and everything remains the same. And make sure that your preview is set to camera 4, and the key one is selected. Now let me go to the demonstration, the demo scene, and I'm gonna click on this auto button. Oh, so now there's a problem here too. Okay, see, now there is some other problem. So let's fix that actually. This is actually a good one, right? So now, okay, go back up here. Now, what is the problem here? Now, let's go back to the demo. Here is, did I select the invert key? Invert key is selected. Camera 1, camera 4, and Luma is selected. All right, now, okay, camera 4. Camera 4 is selected. Camera 1 is selected. Under program, camera 4 is in the preview mode, and making sure that I am on the right file. Yes. So now I'm going back to the demonstration window. Actually, it's key scene. Make sure that background is selected, key one is selected, and I am going to be playing this file. Now, this worked. So some other settings that I didn't do it correctly. So now that animated overlay is played correctly on top of my video source. You got it, right? So that is one usage of upstream key. And upstream key, you probably have seen that in one of the scenes that where I played the subscribe overlay, and that is this file. If I go back to, there is a subscribe and an overlay file here, and that is what's being keyed in on top of my main video source. And it's exact same step, nothing, there's no difference at all. That file is also was also played from HyperText Studio Mini and keyed in top of my main video source from camera 1. All right, that's about upstream key. Now let's look at downstream key. Okay, downstream key is actually, it's the last thing that you would do after everything else is done. What that means is actually that it's mainly used to overlay static image files or graphic files on top of your video source. For example, logo box or lower thirds and things like that. And some people use, I've seen people using static lower thirds. And today we looked at how to use animated lower thirds, because it's an animated movie file, then we have to use upstream key. But if it was a static lower third file, if just a graphic file, we have to use this downstream key. Okay, and for today's demonstration, what we're going to do is we're going to create an overlay that we can actually place on top of our video source. So I'm going to go into Canva which is my favorite design tool. Canva.com. All right, so now I already have a sample design here, but actually we're going to change a few things in there. So here, so this is the one that I'm going to be using today. I have this, this border, right? This is it's got some texture, but then I also have another box on top of that, the main one, and we're going to save this. And I don't want to save it as a transparent background because I want that background, and the only part that I need transparency is actually the central part. This is the rectangular box on top of the main the textured background. So I'm going to save this just like as a PNG file. And okay, so that's done. So now this is a PNG file that we're going to be using. So now I can't use it like that. So what we're going to do is we need to do a little more work before we can actually use that. Okay, now let's locate that file under downloads. This is no, that's not the one. There you go, this is a demo. So now I am going to open this in my Photoshop. We have to do one little thing. So we need this this middle portion. We need transparency for that section. So Photoshop has got a magic eraser, so that's what I'm going to be using to create the transparent transparency for that middle part. And that's all I need to do. And just have to save this file. I can close Photoshop. And now let's open this file one more time to make sure that what we did is correct or not. All right, so this is actually transparent. So now, because this is one, okay, now if I actually go back to Photoshop, no, this is actually not, that's not the one. Where is my Photoshop? Okay. Open. So now open this. So now you have two ways to actually export this. I go back to our ATEM software control, and under media, you see that there are 20 still images that you can stack up. Okay, so from from Photoshop, when you go under File Export option, you see either you can export it as a PNG file straight from the Photoshop, or you can also export it to ATEM switcher media port, because that plugin is already enabled for me to actually export it to. So that is much more easy way to export it to the ATEM software control. So that's what I'm going to be using. Firstly, I can't really show that menu items here because my window is a little bit shrinked because of this the way the screen share works. So I am going anyway. It's located under File menu, and go under Export. You see an option called ATEM Switcher Media Pool. So that is what I'm going to be. So now, when I select that, it gives me this option, this window actually, where I need to make sure that my IP address is correct, where my ATEM switch is running, and where do I need to play, because I showed you, right, there are 20 empty slots available. So I'm going to be using the first one. And okay, pre-multiply colors alpha, yes, export it. That's it. So now actually I can minimize this. Now you see that this option, that file is already here. So this is the one that actually we're going to be using to overlay on top of our video source. Right, now coming back to the switcher section under downstream key, it's already under media player 1 and media player key as a key source. And we have to make sure sometimes the pre-multiplied key may not work. So uncheck that. And this is set to maybe 30. 30 is good maybe. Okay, that is good. That is good. So now, how do I demonstrate? Because this is actually, there's a section here called DSK1, and you have to make sure that that on air is actually selected. And now, to demonstrate that behavior, let's me go back to our demos window. So now look at that. Now if I uncheck that on air, that overlay is actually gone. Now if I enable that on air, you see that overlay on top of my video source. That is really cool, right? So my goal is to actually to, I'm using, so like I said, I use Ecamm Live to manage my scenes, and also it has got a fantastic support to add custom overlays. So I'm going to be transitioning from Ecamm to ATEM switch and have all my overlays loaded from ATEM switch, not from Ecamm Live. That is my goal. So if I can accomplish that, I think I will be transition almost 70 to 80% of my workload to actually offload everything to ATEM switch. So you don't really need to give more load to your computer when you go live using your computer. So my goal is to eventually transition completely to ATEM Mini Pro and use ATEM Mini Pro as the live streaming device. Ecamm is very good in managing scenes. It has got a fantastic support for overlays. It also has got a built-in support to interact with your audience comments. When you go live, audience may be interacting with you, so you'll be able to see those comments and you'll be able to add them to the broadcast. So that feature is already there in most of the software-based live streaming solutions. But ATEM Mini Pro or ATEM or any ATEM switches, actually, that part is not there. The integration of comments or how you actually interact with your audience. But I've seen in a couple of videos about how you can actually incorporate comments as overlay or place comments as overlay on top of a video source. So I'm going to be playing with that, and once I'm satisfied with that, that is one thing that is stopping me from using ATEM Mini Pro completely. So I still rely on software solutions for certain things. But that is not, again, software solution is not my preferred choice. But because of that support, I'm still using it. And other thing is that I'm also using a third-party service called Restream. So when I stream into multiple destinations on YouTube as well as on Facebook. And you can also use StreamKey, Restream StreamKey. Actually, I did a show on that actually last week or so, how to use Restream with ATEM Mini Pro. So you can do that also. And there are a couple things that I'm still need to figure that out, and how I can achieve the similar experience that I used to get from when I use Ecamm Live with ATEM Mini Pro. And these are the two things that I really wanted to show to you guys. I hope you learned something today, and if you enjoyed today's show, please remember to like this video, and I mentioned that earlier. Please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.